Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? What I'm going to talk about today is the transition that has happened post coronavirus. If you read the announcement I sent out, I give you a lot of good information on the way that the class is going to change and the way that the online course is now going to be conducted. It was actually a fight to prevent ACC from just closing all courses and canceling courses. So you're 4 weeks into this Biology 1308 course, and I recommend just pushing through and getting it done. Now, for those of you who don't, we are waiting on a decision about whether you can withdraw without receiving a W on your transcript if you decide this isn't what you signed up for. Another thing that I want to highlight is that I believe that the assessment test is going to be waived for the summer and potentially the fall of 2020, depending on how the events of the coronavirus unfold. So there are a couple of important developments in that respect. Now, the real purpose of this video presentation is to give you an idea of some of the key changes that have taken place in the class and how you can navigate now in this online format. So if you just follow along with me, we can do this. Now, one of the things I want to highlight is that the syllabus and the schedule have been updated. So if you go to this tab that says Syllabus and Schedule, you can actually download the syllabus in either Word or PDF format by clicking on it, and you get this PDF that pops up. Now, all of you should be seeing the PDF right now, and you'll notice that some of the things are in black and some of them are in purple. Any of the critical changes I made to the syllabus, I actually color-coded in purple, so you can scan through and you can identify the things that are different. For example, my office will now be Blackboard Collaborate, which is a video chat software that I'm going to show you quickly how to access later on in this video and send out another YouTube video walking you through in kind of more meticulous detail. And you can request office hours from me anytime, especially during the traditional class times that I would have been with you from 1:30 to 3:20 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays. Right? You can absolutely, I'm going to be available those times for you. I am still your instructor. I am still here to provide you with support. With that said, you're under no obligation to do that because at the moment, the servers are getting flooded and ACC is frankly low on bandwidth. So we're trying to not use that too much, but I am definitely here for you and I'll show you what that is. So Blackboard Collaborate is kind of like Skype. And when I show you how to use it, it's pretty intuitive. It's under the Tools tab. All you have to do is click on it, go to it. You can actually dial into a meeting. I'll provide a phone number. Everything's good. It's kind of like Zoom if you've ever used that platform. Now, coming down, we know this is Biology 1308. For those of you who just heard that the assessment test may be waived, right, I would still stick through the course. It will, given the fact that you're going to be taking this from home and that lecture exams and things like that are going to be from home. Sorry, I had an itch on my foot. There's no reason to not take the course, right? You can tack an A onto your transcript and try and learn as much as you can out of it. Those modules are very well done. They're put together by the people who developed the assessment test and who teach anatomy and physiology. So just keep motivated, keep doing what you're doing, and fill out those notes and learn the material and really try to dissect and digest this material and intellectually grapple with it a little bit. Now, the newly redesigned course is going to consist, one, of interactive modules followed by quizzes. Now, the module quizzes aren't going to be timed. However, a new component is going to be a series of YouTube lectures with associated quizzes, and those associated quizzes that correspond to the lecture that I give are going to be timed. Each one is going to be worth about 25 points, 20 questions, and they're going to be timed at 20 to 25 minutes, meaning that you should go through the lecture prior to taking it because questions are going to pop up one at a time, they're going to be randomized, and you get one shot at it, right? Now, if your server conks out on you, you can give me an email or you can shoot me an email and we can work on how to potentially deal with that. But remember, I can access your quiz and see where it stopped and exactly where it conked out. So don't use that as a tool for not studying. Exams are now going to be online too, and each exam is going to be timed, meaning that there's going to be a time constraint put on it. For example, exam 2 over the remainder of the general chemistry material is going to be clamped at 1 hour and 10 minutes. It's going to be 50 questions, multiple choice. There's a big question pool from which it's being pulled, and you're going to get questions one at a time filtering into your screen. you can't backtrack on questions. So once you've answered a question, you move on to the next question. So just keep that in mind, that there are tools that we're using rather than me making you pay for like software like ProctorU or whatever. I am just putting this randomized time clamp on the Blackboard interface. Now, you're going to have one assignment throughout the course of the semester. One of them is going to be preparing your application, the preparing your application assignment, and I'm going to update that in Unit 4 material and post that in Unit 4 material. If you're not applying to an allied health science, what I'm going to have you do is write me a 1 to 2 page single-space paper describing what you want out of university, meaning what are your career goals, where are you going? Now, there's going to be a lot of support. I'm going to be checking my email daily. I am here for you. And the way that the class is set up is just a little bit different. So this just kind of walks you through. Everything in purple is new. Coming down to the grades, the point totals are now a little bit different because there were 10 graded lab days or graded class days before. There are only 3 now because we're not going to have traditional in class anymore. So we have 23 module quizzes at 10 points apiece. We have 4 instructor quizzes at 50 points apiece. We have 5 unit exams at 100 points apiece. We have 1 essay or application prep assignment at 40 points. That should say at 40 points. And we have 3 graded class days, which everybody who's attended has already gotten that. If you look through this, you can identify anything that's new with respect to what you need to know by looking for everything in purple. So just look for the purple text to figure out what's changed in the course. Now, to kind of walk people through who don't have a good idea of what's going on with respect to Blackboard, I've made a more detailed schedule for you. So if you go down here and you look at the schedule, if you go to the online PDF and you look through, again, updates are in purple, but you'll notice that after spring break on Monday, March 30th, it's actually going to be Tuesday, all of the modules and the lecture exam over Unit 2 is going to be due. Now, the Unit 2 lecture exam is up and ready to go. I'll show you where to access that. Once you access it, you get 1 hour and 10 minutes to finish it. You get one shot at it, so make sure you study before you do it because I have like 130 students to juggle. We're all dealing with this coronavirus thing. I know that many of you are probably stressed out and this class isn't your priority at the moment. I don't know if you work in industry or, tourism or hospitality. You might not have a job at the moment. So I'm kind of trying to factor things like that into mind. Remember, this is a builder class, not a weeder class. I'm trying to get you guys the fundamental knowledge and skill set necessary to be successful in A&P1 and A&P2 and go on to do well in the allied health sciences. Get out of my face, bruh. So, the Unit 2 test material, when you see lecture exam on Unit 2 material, if you go back to the interface, I am on edit mode off, so this is what you guys see, and you'll see a new tab to the left that says Unit Exams. Each unit exam, Unit Exam 2, Unit Exam 3, which hasn't been posted yet, will be made available to you, and then you'll have a period of time to complete it. This first unit exam, you'll have 1 hour and 10 minutes to complete, and if you click on the exam, you'll get a time test, a description, timer settings, due date. So it's going to be due March 31st, 2020 at 11:59 p.m. And you can just click begin. It's a multiple choice test. Save your answers, but you're going to be forced to completion, meaning that you have 1 hour and 10 minutes once you access it. So access it when you are ready, when you have a stable internet connection, etc. If you don't have internet, that's a bit of a challenge. Now, there are resources that have been posted that I'm going to try and find for you and post some information in the announcements about how to find free internet and what campuses may be opening their accelerators on a limited basis, but it's kind of hard to do that at the moment, and we essentially made the sacrifice and said most people have internet, and if a couple people are unable to do an online course, then that's why I'm pushing so hard to be able to withdraw without a W on your transcript, and I'll get that information to you when it comes along. So we have that. Another new thing is if you look at the Unit 3 material, which is completely up and ready to go, right, with the exception of the exam, which I'm going to be posting later on. If you look at your schedule, Wednesday, April 1st, we're going to be doing modules 4.2 and 4.5. I'm going to be available on the platform to speak with. And if you look at the bottom of each week from this week forth, you'll see a weekly wrap up, and you'll see everything's essentially due Sunday by midnight. So all of this material is going to be made available to you ahead of time. In fact, everything for the next couple of weeks is up and ready to go, with the exception of Unit Exam 3, which I'm going to put up later. But if you see due Sunday, April 5th, instructor lecture quiz over functional groups, found under Unit 3, Lecture 1, organic compounds and functional groups. So I have instructor quizzes. If you click here and click here, you get Lecture 1 linked to YouTube, and that's going to take you to a YouTube, my YouTube channel, and that's going to give you the lecture for that particular material, right? So you then have the quiz over this particular material. You have the handout that follows along with the lecture, and you have the lecture in PowerPoint and PDF format if you prefer to follow along that way. Remember that these quizzes are going to be timed, so be careful to really be ready to take the quiz prior to taking the quiz, because again, those quizzes are definitely going to be timed. With that said, that's what's going on with that. So we have the new unit material. Now, all of you should know how to access the modules. Rather than having lectures for these now, these are purely modules. And what I'm going to do when I write this lecture exam, because the lecture exam, the quizzes were written by the BIL team, right? The team of people who put the assessment test together. I am going to write the lecture exams, meaning I'm going to go through these modules meticulously one by one. I'm going to fill out the student notes, and I'm going to highlight from the student notes what I'm going to ask on my exams for you. I recommend learning this material because when you get into A&P1 and A&P2, it's assumed knowledge. And even if the assessment test is waived, that doesn't matter to me as much. I've told you over and over again, I could care less about a test. I care that you actually learn the material. And I think that comes through with the assignment I give you, which is preparing your application. I really want you to not just be ready to take another 50-question multiple choice exam test, but to be ready to take A&P1 and A&P2. I am still going to provide support, and if you want to utilize Blackboard Collaborate to talk to me, you can. So every one of these with Unit 3 material is associated with a quiz, and I just want to highlight that. Another thing I want to highlight is tools. Now, because we are going entirely online, tools are going to be really, really important. One of the most important tools, of course, is I could have used ProctorU, I just didn't want to make you all pay so much money for proctored exams, so instead I put them on a timer. So you can send an email to the entire class, you can create groups, there's a lot of things that you can do in this toolbar, but one of the things I want to highlight that you can do in this toolbar is use what's called Blackboard Collaborate. If you click on Blackboard Collaborate, you'll be directed to a screen that asks you, do you want to join a session? So it says no scheduled sessions, but I could create a session in 2 seconds. Once I create a session, if you just click on Blackboard Collaborate, you'll see a session that's up and available during that time period. So let's say you want to meet with me Monday at 1:30 from 1:30 to 2. I'll create a session. I'll invite other students to that. We can talk about the material. I can provide you help on anything that you may be struggling with. I can be a tutor. I can be whatever during those hours, right? And all you have to do is come in and click on the session, and you don't have to enable your camera, but I would enable your microphone. It's okay if you don't want to enable your camera. You can join these sessions from your phone, and it's like a Zoom interface. It's just a chat room. It's essentially a chat room, a digital chat room. So a lot of you are pretty tech-savvy folks, and for those of you who aren't, I can try and provide as much support as possible, but this is going to be problematic because we as a department have decided to adhere very rigidly to kind of syllabus standards. So I'll try and help you to the best of my ability, but if you're consistently being late on all of your work, etc., there's a point at which I just have to say I can't do it because I got a lot of other people to do. I mean, it's Wednesday now, and I'm just scrambling to get this up. We've been working through the entire spring break because of the COVID-19 epidemic, so I know many of you are stressed. We're all stressed. Try and stay on top of this material. The course hasn't changed really fundamentally that much. Now, With that said, that walks you through all the major changes. Again, just pay attention on the schedule to things like weekly wrap-ups. If you have questions, email me, and know that I'm going to be available on an interface called Blackboard Collaborate. And that's a way that you and I, or we as a class, for whoever wants to join in on those sessions, and I'll be emailing you 2 or 3 times a week to just kind of update you with what's going on in the class and to keep touch with you, so I'm not an abstraction to you. I still am your teacher, and I'm interested in helping you, and I want you to get through this time and get the grade on your transcript and move one step closer to your career. So that's all I really have to say. And I guess the final point I want to bring up is that Malik may have orchestrated all this to get out of playing me one-on-one basketball.